Hi. It's been a whole ass day. My makeup's greasy, my hair's frazzled. I'm real tired. So, let's talk about Chantal. A special thank you to my patrons: Acrophobe, Christina, Wild Rose, Jam Beans, Jay Thomas, Lauren Chris, Michael B. Petty, That British Unicorn, Sky Andropolis, Debbie Elliott, and D. Higgins. She has made her triumphant return. I don't know. She's done basically 2 lives at this point and 1 actual video, which was her candy eating video. It's going to be, I think, a shorter video for me as well, mostly because there wasn't as much content to cover. And outside of the last video where she addresses Eugenia Cooney, I don't really have a lot of thoughts on her this week. So let's see if we can keep this to half an hour. I feel like I always try that and it never actually works, and then editing me hates me. Okay, so the first video that she has is basically a live stream because it's Peetz's birthday. In actual real time, this was filmed, I think, right after Chantal's candy. Like, I bought $100 worth of candy stuff, but it was, it premiered on her channel before the candy video came out. Either way, though, this video also has a ton of eating in it, so, you know. She has made a cake for Peetz in this video. They don't really discuss very much. It's just chit-chatting a little bit back and forth. She's made a cake for him. They have that. She made dinner. They have that. They talk. Nothing really major happening. Only a couple of really quick points from this video for me. Okay, first point from this video is that she is icing this really big behemoth of a cake. Now, it's got these ridges around the side. If you guys pay attention, you can see them. Those ridges don't generally happen in a standard cake pan, and they look kind of like what you would get if you were using, say, one of those big trays that you serve at a buffet, like, you know, like the half sheet, in which case that's a massive cake that she's made. I would wager a guess and say that that's like 2 boxes worth of cake mix that she's using, 1 for each cake, which is way too much. And then she's like stacking the cakes on top of each other and then covering the whole thing with like 2 things of like jarred icing. So much cake, and there's only 2 of them, and they're gonna end up eating it, and they shouldn't. I would have done maybe like half of that cake mix, or maybe do like a mug cake for him, or just go to like a really nice bakery, because he doesn't drive anyway, so he wouldn't know, and get him like a really fancy cupcake, and you can get one too, and you guys can have that, and then that will be it for the birthday. Don't have the temptation of it sitting in the house. I've said this before for myself, but when I make something, I have to be very careful about portion sizes, because it's not so much that I'll eat it all in one go then, right? I don't really have that issue. What will end up happening is that I won't eat it. Not really feeling the need to eat it, but then it'll start getting stale and I'll be scared that it's going to go bad, and then I'll force myself to finish it because I hate food wastage. And that I don't want to be in that position either, because whether I'm throwing it away or whether I'm eating it, I don't like, if I don't need that, I feel like it amounts to the same, right? It's still, I bought too much and I made too much. That overage has already been spent. Me eating it is only going to like detrimentally negatively impact my health. It's not going to change anything else. The extra food I still bought and made is still extra food I bought and made. All the damage that it was going to do to the environment, to the animals, is already done. The only other thing that I will say in regards to this cake is that it doesn't look very appetizing to me, but I don't think that's because of the jarred icing or anything like that. I don't tend to like sweet things a lot, very frankly. I'm not a very big sugar person. All of my snack choices tend to be salty, but much like me. I actually bought a mug. If I can remember, I'll throw in a picture. It's like a Morton salt, like classically decorated mug. It's really cute. I really like it. And I wanted to get one that said Die Mad Salty Maddie Salty Bitch, but I couldn't find it. I'm going to see if I can have that custom made. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, a friend of mine's birthday is coming up. So I'm making her cake. So I'll see if I can do a good job. I might like put up a picture just to be like, hey guys, I did a thing. I did a good thing. Please say that I did a good thing. I'll let you guys know. They're having meatloaf, and Chantal doing that thing where she puts like the slice of cheese on the meatloaf and then she melts it. And
This just struck me as being a little bit odd. Peetz is a really big meat guy. He likes meat a lot, but not meatloaf. Anytime where he's gone to a restaurant, he's gotten like burgers or he's gotten like steak. I would have thought for his birthday, she would do like a really nice cut of steak, right? So I personally like ribeye. I'm not, filet mignon is not really my thing. I like ribeye. That's my favorite cut of meat. So I would have thought she would have done maybe like a nice ribeye or T-bone or whatever kind of cut of meat it is that he liked with like a side of potatoes or something like that, right? Instead, she made meatloaf, which is her comfort food. And it struck me as being a little odd that she would make her comfort food for Peetz's birthday. And I can't help but feel that much like the video stream that she did where she was raging in her uncle's house, which still coming, this particular meal was made because she is still struggling with her grandmother's health right now. And it's making her sad. And she does discuss that, which I will not put into this. That's a very personal thing. Even for Chantal, I don't feel comfortable talking about it. Just if you guys can, send all the well wishes and prayers and good vibes her way. Regardless of what you think of Chantal, her grandmother, as far as we can see, has not given us any reason to ever, not want the best for her, right? She's just an elderly lady and she's sick. And right now with COVID, stuff can be hard. So send her all of your good vibes and prayers, please. The last point that I'll talk about from this video is the one that I think I saw on Twitter, which is that she had not been feeling well and she had gone to a clinic. And at the clinic, they said that she might have another condition, an autoimmune disorder. And, she said, oh, sorry, I didn't mention what it was. She might have vasculitis. Now, she was advised to go to the ER, but she went to the ER and they didn't have comfortable chairs there for her to sit. And she was just like too many people and she got really, really uncomfortable. And she's just like, I'll just come back at a different time. And she went home. I looked up some of the symptoms, like some of the things that vasculitis can cause. And one of them is like a stroke. And given her obesity, she's already at higher risk for that. So that seems very, very ill-advised. But I mean, like, that's Chantal's channel in like a nutshell. Very, very ill-advised. So what am I even going to say, right? Anyway, next. Okay. This is her first official video. She has bought $100 worth of diabetes and she's going to be eating said diabetes for us on camera. Isn't that what everybody wants? When they turn on their internet, when they log on to YouTube and they're like, I am tired. It's been a long day. Let me relax. And then they pull up their phone and then they go immediately to a video of a woman mukbanging like 4,000 calories and just pure sugar when she's a diabetic trying to put herself deliberately into an insulin coma. So, if that's your thing, hey, here you go.
Hey guys, hey, hi guys, hey, how are you? Welcome back. I have missed you so much. And what a way to celebrate my return than unboxing and taste testing about $100 worth of nostalgia candy. So, all right, let me get this unboxed for you and I'll be right back. Let's get to. Oh my gosh, there's so much candy here.
3 things I have to say here. 1, that is so much candy. Oh my God, is that so much candy? I actually kind of forgot just how much candy you can buy for $100. That is just a crap ton. And why are there chips? This is a candy haul. Chips do not belong in there, ma'am. Second thing, her eyes don't look great. That's a weird way of putting it given all my eye conditions. What I mean to say is that her eyeliner is really, really, really stark. When you've got a really wide face, and this is for myself too, right? Told you guys, moon-faced gal here. When you've got a very, very round face, you want to do something to kind of elongate and like accentuate the shape of your eyes, because especially when you're heavier, it can disappear into your face a little bit. Your eyes can recede a little bit almost into your face, and when you smile, your chubby cheeks are going to just hide it altogether. So you don't want to do that. You want to kind of pull the color out, pull the color up, smoke it out down below, and basically make them look as big as they possibly can. Chantal's kind of done the opposite. She's lined them very, very tightly, and she's got like a shimmer or something like that on her lid, but really not much else going on. Even in the rest of her face looks very overblown, right? Like it's the white balance is out. And so it looks very, very flat. And 3, she looks very bloated. Oh my God. I saw a side by side of her from exactly a year ago to now. And she's saying she's only gained 1.5 pounds, but I'll be honest, if she's only gained that much weight, then the shape of her face looking so different from then to now speaks very poorly of how she's aged, right? And I said before, honestly, I would prefer that she's gained weight to the other explanation, which is genuinely that her body is just falling apart all around her, including in the way that she looks. Because if it's just weight gain related, then at least there is the possibility that she can just lose the weight and she'll get better. But if it's just that at 400 pounds, her body is sort of deteriorating, I don't know what you can do for that, right? It's kind of like wrinkles. You want to start wrinkle prevention when you're much younger, because it's not about treating wrinkles once you have them. It's about preventing them from forming. It's very hard to treat actual wrinkles. It's much easier to keep them from appearing in the first place.
All right, so this first bag of chips here, wild mushroom and sour cream Lays. These are from Republika Moldova, Lays Romania. So these are like Romanian chips. Sorry if I'm not saying that right. Okay, I love mushrooms. I love sour cream. Let's give them a try.
Does anyone else find it weird that she's starting once again with her trigger food, right? She said that chips are a trigger food for her. We've seen her show zero lack of control with chips before. And then again, the most clear-cut example of it was when she was at her uncle's house caring for her grandmother, right? She wasn't feeling the greatest. She was having a moment. And so she went into the kitchen, she found a bag of chips, and then she ate like a bag of chips, right? She has that as one of her emotional triggers. This is not a good idea for her to order these, because there's absolutely 0% of a chance that she will not eat all of them. I refuse to believe it.
All right, these are other chips from the same, Bulgaria. I'm sorry. I think these were Bulgaria as well. These are from Bulgaria. These are ketchup ruffles. Now, we have ketchup chips in Canada, but we don't have ketchup ruffles. We have ruffles, we have ketchup chips, but we don't have ketchup ruffles. So I wanted to try, since I love ketchup chips and I like ruffles, let's give these a try. Oh my gosh. Anyone from this area of the world?
One of the best things that Canada has ever produced, and yes, I am putting this up there with Drake and The Weeknd, has to be Ketchup Blaze. They are the best. Why they are not available in the US, I will never understand. Thank God we finally started seeing like some places carry All Dressed, which is the other Canadian flavor. They're really, really good. Not as good as Ketchup Blaze, but still like very close. Not the best flavor of Lay's overall, though, right? If I have to objectively pick one, and yes, my opinion is correct and everybody else's opinion is wrong, it is the Magic Masala flavor. Oh my God, those are so good. They're like the Indian spiced Lay's ones. Oh my God, they're so good. They taste kind of like tandoori masala. It's like chicken tikka-y. They're the best. They're my favorite. They're so good. Honest to goodness, every time I go to the like Indian store for something or another, if there is a bag there, I will buy exactly one bag and then I will eat it. I don't go to the Indian store very often, so it'll be like once a month, maybe twice in a month at the very, very most. If I buy more than one bag, I will 100% eat more than one bag all in the same day. If you buy like 8 bags, I will eat 8 bags in a day. Like, I like them so much. That and like, I had them when I went to Louisiana. What are they called? Zaps? Zaps, the Voodoo Heat flavor. Oh, mind-blowing. They're so good. They're so good. Oh my God. Man, regional flavored chips are the best.
Have a napkin for the grease. Now these next chips, wrap snacks. Dabbing is a lifestyle. Sour cream with a dab of ranch. Migos, flavored potato chips. I have seen these around And I think they're just really funny and cool. So I'm gonna try Wrap Snacks sour cream with a dab of ranch. So it's gonna be like a very creamy flavor, I'm guessing.
Creamy is not a flavor, mostly. Creamy is a texture, right? That something is very creamy in texture. That's why you can have things that have no cream in it, but still be creamy, right? So banana and ice cream can be very smooth and silky and creamy, but it doesn't have any actual cream in it. Does she know that? She knows that creamy is not an actual flavor, right?
These are hard to find around me. I don't know why. They do sell them in my town, in my city, but I have to go looking for them. So these are the Pizzeria Baked Pretzel Combos. I have had these before. I really love these. I don't know if you guys like combos. They have all kinds of flavors, but it's basically a pretzel with pizza filling.
Chantal seems to have pulled like most of her savory snacks directly from like my own brain, because once more those combos are the best. They are my theater food snack of choice if I can find them, which is not always there, but if I can get them, I'll get like one bag of those and I'll just munch on them through a movie. And if I can't get them, then I just get like plain popcorn. I don't like the movie butter stuff. It tastes gross. It tastes really plasticky to me. It's just gross. But those combos are so good. There are also so many calories. It's another one of those things that I only get when I'm going on a road trip, because then I'm like, it's fine. It's a road trip. I'm just going to be sitting in a hot car all day anyway. Might as well have something tasty. And that's when I'll eat them, which is probably bad because I'm already sedentary and then I'm just eating like 1,000 calories and pretzels and fake cheese filling.
I'm not going to open these now. Okay, I'll try one. These are Bigs. I think these are in the United States. I do have some United States snacks here. And basically, the rest is going to be like things I couldn't get here in Canada. So they're like from the United States. Because you guys have like really cool snacks, like weird things that we don't have here in Canada. So, for example, cheeseburger sunflower seeds. I need to see if they taste like cheeseburger. I love sunflower seeds. I usually get dill pickle. They don't smell like cheeseburger, but we'll see. Sam. I used to have a Scratch and Sniff burger sticker, and they taste like how that smells.
Are there Scratch and Sniff stickers of like savory foods? That just seems so weird. I mean, there's like, I remember one when I was like 10 or 13 where it was like blueberry muffin scented, but I've never seen one ever in my life of a savory food. That just seems so odd to me. And as far as the, you know, the pepitas, the sunflower seeds goes, I'm glad she's eating them. I think they've got a lot of like vitamin E and vitamin A in them, and it's a healthy fat. So, I mean, the dusting on them is probably terrible for you, but at least you're getting some vitamins.
Canada store. I like buttered popcorn flavored things. Like, that's my favorite. Jelly Belly. I used to have a lip smacker that was buttered popcorn flavor. It's just, I don't know. So this is a bit of nostalgia for me, so let's try it. I'm kind of weirded out. Buttered popcorn.
Ah, she's weirded out. I see she's been watching a lot of Amber Lynn's videos. Never knew food weirded Chantal out too.
My table's crooked. I did get a package of KoolAid because I haven't had KoolAid in years. And this is, oh, it's unsweetened KoolAid. Okay. Oh, you have to add sugar. I remember KoolAid, you had to add like a whole bag of sugar.
She got KoolAid and she's like, oh yeah, you know, I remember you used to get these ones where you could add like a whole bag of sugar to them to sweeten it. I just have a quick question about this. Can you not find KoolAid at your local groceries? Can't talk anymore. It's very late. I'm so tired. Can she not find KoolAid at her local grocery store? Because here, for me, on the West Coast, I can literally, any like grocery store I go into, I can easily find like 4 things of KoolAid. Can she not? Is like KoolAid not a thing in Canada anymore? Because I like when I was a kid, it was there. So maybe stuff's just changed. But it just seems so weird to like order something probably at a markup from a store when you can just easily like buy it at your local grocery store.
Actually, there's 2 snacks here I'm not looking forward to trying.
Okay, so she says that she's saving the worst for last, and that struck me as being so incredibly weird because the entire point of IE is that you're never supposed to eat things that you don't like. This entire video is very against the principles of intuitive eating because she says repetitively that she's like, oh, I'm just not feeling it. Oh, yeah, I have to really have something salty to cut the flavor of all the sugar stuff. So she's obviously not enjoying it. You can see it from the look on her face. But she's still here doing this for us, right? It just seems very, very odd to me that she purposefully ordered something that she hasn't tried yet that she knows she doesn't like so she can put it on camera. And normally, if you had a healthy eating relationship with food, I would not care too much because it's just like, oh, it's cool. You're just going to try a thing and then it'll be okay. But when you have got a disordered eating pattern and then on top of that, you are now eating a bunch of stuff that you don't want to be eating, it says to me that you don't clearly have a good handle on your own emotional well-being and like mental health. Because if you did, you wouldn't be indulging in this thing, right? Like she says she's in therapy for binge eating disorder, and here she is eating food she doesn't like on camera, when she could just as easily be eating food that she does like on camera.
I like the saltier snacks more. All right, one more chocolate bar. Thank goodness. Wispa Gold Cadbury. Aerated Cadbury milk chocolate with a layer of caramel. Wispa Gold. Never heard of this. Now, I think Cadbury's based in the UK, is it not? I don't know. I could be wrong. Candy, candy. I think for chocolate, Cadbury is probably my favorite.
Okay, last point I'm going to make in this video goes on for so much longer, but I've honest to goodness lost interest, is she's eating a chocolate bar from Cadbury's. Cadbury is the best chocolate when it comes to like the drugstore stuff, right? It's really good. I've got great memories of childhood tied to it, but the Cadbury's in the US is actually like different. The formula is different, or I heard somewhere that it was made by Hershey's. I don't like the US Cadbury. I like the Canadian Cadbury, and I like the British Cadbury, and I like the Indian and Pakistani Cadbury because that's also the British Cadbury. Those ones are great. Best candy bar out there ever is Crunchy from Cadbury, and no one will convince me otherwise. That thing is great. It's another thing that I'm really glad doesn't actually exist in the US, because if I could just walk into a grocery store and find that candy bar, I would eat that whole candy bar. I like literally one bar of chocolate will last me like 3 weeks. I'm exaggerating, but it'll last me like a week because I don't like a lot of chocolates. And when I do, I just like to get like dark chocolate plain, right? That's kind of my jam. Even then, I will eat like 1 square a day because that's all it takes to satisfy my sweet tooth. That is the only candy in the world that I can eat the whole bar of it, and I feel mildly nauseous afterwards, but I don't regret it, and I would do it again, which is why I'm glad I can't find it locally in the wilderness here. Anyway, all that said, next.
At all, just by existing, okay? She has a right to exist with all of her illnesses and all of her problems. If she does have, I'm just saying, she does have the eating disorder, she has an illness. And telling somebody they don't deserve a right to social media because of their illness is discrimination. And her having a YouTube channel or not is not going to make a big difference, because like I said, she comes on once every 2 weeks to do makeup. You know, so YouTube saying you're too skinny, you can't have a YouTube channel, or you have an eating disorder, so you don't have a right to a voice, to social media, to escape from that, to do what you like to do. That is just really wrong. And that actually, that shameful nature of wanting to punish her for her illness is, or not getting help for her illness, which, by the way, is another problem. We don't know what she's doing behind the scenes. Treating an eating disorder it takes a long time. It's a long, arduous process, and no one has a right to tell somebody how they should go about it. Nobody has a right to tell, hey, you have a problem, you have an eating disorder, what you need to do is log off, get off in YouTube because it's making things worse for you. Now, is that true or not? We don't know, but she has a right to that privacy. She has a right to deal with her issue the way that she wants to deal with it off camera. She doesn't want to bring that into her channel. She doesn't want, to make it part of her channel. It's her job to influence, but she's not promoting, okay, I have problems, you should be like me. If anything, yeah, she has issues, and I think people should just be more compassionate to eating disorders. I think eating disorders are very stigmatized, and I think that this is even going to, like, if YouTube did that and banned her, that would be discrimination. That would be more stigma against eating disorders and mental illness. I don't think that I don't see what taking her YouTube away would do. What would that do? Is that going to solve her eating disorder? Is it just going to magically disappear? No. I mean, she did go away for a while. She did get help, but people relapse. Eating disorders are very, 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 very hard to overcome. I don't think people realize that,
Okay, this is the video that I have the issue with. She talks about a lot about it circularly, so I'm only going to pick a couple of instances here and talk about just the things that I think are pertinent. She talks about people trying to deplatform Eugenia Cooney. Now, if you guys don't know, I've mentioned Eugenia Cooney in comparison to her before. Eugenia Cooney is a YouTuber. She's a pretty big YouTuber. I think she's got like 2 million subscribers, and she is anorexic. She is painfully thin. If you see her, she's very, very skinny. Now, most of her content, from what I've seen, is like try on hauls and whatnot, and it's not actually about her food. And Chantal's entire point of view in this situation is that, well, if she's not talking about her eating disorder, then no one else should talk about her eating disorder, and essentially that she has the right to exist on a public platform. First of all, YouTube is a private company, which means that this is not actually a government provided service, which means they can demonetize and remove anybody they want at any time. And if there's enough people who don't want to see her on this platform, essentially YouTube can just say, okay, and find a reason to kick her off. So, and it wouldn't be discrimination, because who are they discriminating against here? A privileged white girl? There's not a case for discrimination here. You're not a marginalized group. We're not silencing her voice. She's free to say whatever she wants elsewhere. But YouTube, as a private company, has the rights to refuse its services to anybody they want. Now, if they terminated her because of something or another, right? Like there's like a reasoning for terminating her beyond just she represents the platform badly. Like she represents the platform badly and we hate gay people. She represents the platform badly and we don't want to hear about Black Lives Matter anymore. Then yes, then they could potentially bring forward a discriminatory lawsuit, because that's a protected class. Being skinny or thin is not. So no, it's not discrimination. Secondarily, the reason why Eugenia Cooney's content does so well is because people have a sick fascination with the way that she looks. There is a ton of comments in her comment section just saying, you look so beautiful and I want to be like you and all this, right? And while it's not necessarily her responsibility to go to each one of them and say, hey, what I have here is not healthy, please don't try and look like me, that doesn't mean that the stereotype that she is perpetuating isn't harmful anyway, right? Of the very, very anorexically thin person basically having all of the attention, fame, and money that YouTube can afford them. One of the reasons why eating disorders are so prevalent in our society is because of the way that supermodels look and the heavy, heavy editing that we see everywhere. The only people who were allowed on TV, on camera for the longest period of time were people who showed the absolute pinnacle of perfection as far as beauty went. Pinnacle of perfection. I use that very lightly, right? They were extremely skinny people on the runways, left, right, and center. And for a very long period of time, that was what was in. And even to this day, right? Like people will say, well, we're all for, different shapes and sizes. But most of the people who do well on most of the platforms are still going to be very skinny girls. But now it's like very skinny girls with a butt, right? Like butt and boobs. But it's still very skinny girls, very fit, very like abbed up ladies. So when you've got someone on the platform who is this skinny and they're doing well and they're putting on clothes, even if the clothes aren't necessarily, even if she's not talking about her eating disorder, right? When she's putting clothes on and she's displaying that, people want to see how the clothes look on an extremely skinny body. That's what they're there to watch. Same way that if Amberlynn does a full like shot, try on haul, or that Chantal does, people want to see what those clothes look like on a very, very heavy body. And I will say this, to their credit, because Chantal and Amber talk about their health issues on their channel, you see the fact that, hey, yeah, this isn't the lifestyle that I want to lead, right? It's one of the biggest things that Tess Holliday has aimed at her, is that she's talking about being healthy, fit, and strong when she is morbidly obese. And that's the reason why people have such a big issue with her title. I think the big one that caused a stir was the Cosmo cover. She had been on the cover of other magazines before, but that was the cover that proclaimed her to be healthy, fit, and I think it was like strong, right? And you're saying that about someone who is in a dangerous weight category. It's the same thing with Eugenia Cooney. Just because she's not talking about her eating disorder on her channel anymore doesn't mean that it's magically gone away. It doesn't mean that the 2 million people who are watching her aren't going to see the success that she's had, essentially showing off the fruits of her anorexia and not think to themselves, maybe I could do that. And same thing with Amber, right? Maybe there's somebody out there who's already binging and eating a massive amount of food, and they're looking at Foodie Beauty and thinking, hey, maybe I could do that. And those are counterproductive. So no, people who are on the internet are called influencers because they influence others' decisions. They don't have to promote those decisions to still influence those decisions. That's why when somebody asks an influencer to promote a product, they won't say at the end of it, buy this product. They'll just hold up the product and they'll say, this is an ad, but I really loved this. With the implication being that I loved it and therefore you will love it and therefore you should buy it, right? And the implication is so strong that if you don't label it an ad, then it's illegal. And I know that selling product versus having an eating disorder and existing are two very different things. But when it comes to obesity-related outcomes take a while to come on. It takes a while to gain weight. It takes a while for those symptoms to appear. For a lot of people, when you're young and healthy, you're not going to have any of those problems. It's only when you get to being in your 30s and 40s when you really start to experience the symptoms of being morbidly obese or being obese for a very long period of your life. With anorexia, you can have multi-system organ failure unrelated to anything else and die. It's happened before. Supermodels have had this happen to them. And Eugenia Cooney's at risk for it. And she's opened up and she's talked about the fact that this is something that she suffers with. And so when she comes back on and she basically, paper tapes over everything ugly, and she just says, well, now we're no longer going to talk about the fact that I still have a major eating disorder and I'm still very unhealthy. And we're going to go back to showing off my very skinny anorexic body so I can continue to make money off of my audience. It rubs people the wrong way. Do I think deplatforming her will help? I don't know. I don't know enough about her situation. I think that, honestly, I don't think that it can hurt, right? I think that if she is no longer on YouTube and no longer has the ability to monetize her thinness and monetize her dysmorphic relationship with food and put it online for people to view, then I think she might take a more critical look at herself and be like, well, why did they kick me off? What was I doing that was wrong? And maybe she will get help this time in a much more serious manner. Chantal is really, she's very much so resonating with Eugenia Cooney, because she's like, well, people are trying to deplatform her, and she thinks of Eugenia as being the victim, and she thinks of herself as being the victim. And she doesn't seem to realize that Eugenia Cooney is at much more immediate risk of passing away than Chantal is. Chantal's, a lot of her medical health problems are diagnosable, and you can like see them. You can track when they're escalating, right, as her weight goes up. The problem with weight loss is that a lot of times, sometimes your organs just sort of turn off, right? It might not necessarily be that series of escalating problems that leads to death when it is with obesity. And so just saying, yeah, let her do whatever she wants and don't talk about it is stupid. Your advice is going to get her killed.
That's what I think. You know, same thing if they decided to remove my channel because I'm overweight and I'm eating. That's what causes eating disorders, just years and years of saying, oh, I shouldn't eat this because, you know, and then you restrict and then you binge, and then it's just a vicious cycle.
I would just like to point out at this point that, yes, some people might develop an eating disorder from this sort of thinking, but it's a very small subsect of people who are already prone or might have a history in their family of this sort of thing. Not necessarily everyone. A lot of people look at this stuff, even diet and restrict, and don't have any issues with binging and restricting, right? They don't fall into that binge restrict category. And not every fat person or obese person has an ED. I have told you guys, I had a hormonal imbalance which caused my appetite to go way up. I ate, I gained weight. Part of that was also like fluid retention. Other things were happening too. But whatever, right? Now, losing weight is the hard part because my body doesn't want to do that, right? I've had a history with like struggling up and down with weight my entire life. And so when this medical issue came along, I wasn't able to control it as well as I should have. And unfortunately, it spiraled out of control. Right? So this idea that if you restrict, you will 100% binge it's false. It just is. If you look at the statistics of people who've tried a diet versus the statistics of people who have an eating disorder, that number is, the gap between them is enormous.
Bullying someone into change, exactly. You can't. It's same thing with Amber Lynn. You can't bully her into changing. People want to, you see that mentality with her too. Let's mass unsubscribe to teach her a lesson when she did a mukbang. What kind of fucked up mentality is that? You can't tell me that's not trying to bully someone into change. That's ridiculous. People like counting her subscriber loss count laughing. Like, what kind of life do you have if you're doing that? Oh, anyway, that's another example. Stigma against eating disorder. She does a mukbang. It was shrimp. It wasn't even like she was eating something. You know, like, it's not like we're doing these mukbangs like Nick Avocados. Like, he can do what he wants, fine, but it's not like we're doing those kind of mukbangs where it's like huge amounts of fast food every day. You know, like, it's not like that at all. And yet people, let's unsubscribe. We don't like that she's doing mukbangs. So instead of changing the channel and don't watch her, you want to mass unsubscribe to her. Like, you know?
Okay. So you're saying that unsubscribing from her channel and not watching anymore is bullying, and then leaving her a negative comment is bullying, and criticizing her videos and talking about and making reaction videos is bullying. So the only thing that isn't bullying is sitting there quietly, not commenting, not saying anything, and biting your lip and watching her videos. Because we're just doing what you said. We didn't like it, so we left. What is the problem now?
I maybe labeled 1 or 2 videos a binge. Maybe. But those were not mukbang videos, really, you know. I think I did do a couple videos, like, to show you guys, you know. And they were shameful, and I hate watching those because, honestly, like, I'm not in that mind frame whatsoever anymore. Well, it still creeps up. but I'm trying to decondition myself of being ashamed of like binging. Like, so what if I had a relapse and I binged? Like, I'm not going to be ashamed of that. It's part of the eating disorder and it's part of the recovery.
Okay, this is the last point I'm going to address in this video. She talks about how only, a couple of her videos were labeled as being binge eating, right? No, there were a lot of them. There were so many videos that were labeled as binge eating. And more importantly, her recent tags still show her as putting binge eating show and binge eating and binge in her like tags, right? That's the audience she's trying to pull. So don't, okay? Just don't. All right, that will be it for the video from me. I hope this wasn't too long because there really wasn't all that much to cover. I hope my tirade on Eugenia Cooney wasn't too out of left field. It's not that I don't sympathize with Chantal, and it's not that I don't sympathize with Eugenia Cooney, because obviously these are mental health conditions and they need to be treated with delicacy by a mental health care professional. But I sometimes worry that people who have these conditions might not seek the medical help that they need because they're reliant on those medical conditions for income. That's all I have to say on that. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you hated this video, you can give me a thumbs down. That's totally okay. I respect everybody's opinions here. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Hit the notification bell down below and hit all if you want to know when I upload any video right away. I've got all my social medias linked down below. I've got Instagram, where I've got food stuff and life stuff, and I'll have more stuff up soon, I promise. I've got Twitter, where I'm a little bit toxic and a little bit petty, but I'm also the easiest reach there. So if you want to come say hi, talk to me, interact with me, ask me questions, get channel updates, that's where you can find that information. And I've got Patreon. Think of Patreon as the tip jar for the internet. So if you like the job that I'm doing here and you would like me to continue, hey, consider becoming a patron. You don't have to. It's not necessary, but I would really appreciate it. And all the funds that you give me go directly back into this channel and help keep this channel alive. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Jasmine, the sequel, and I am not relatable. Peace.